Now I know they say never meet your heroes, but in case you were curious about all of the talent behind the most memorable films of the 21st century, here are the world's richest directors in ascending order. Number 25, Zhang Yimou. He's responsible for martial arts masterpieces like Hero and House of Flying Daggers, and he's currently worth a cool $70 million. Next up, we've got the legendary Oliver Stone, who is responsible for creating some incredible historical thrillers such as JFK and the classic war drama Platoon. Fun fact, he's won 3 Oscars, and he called John Wick 4, and I quote, disgusting beyond belief. He told Variety that maybe I was watching G.I. Joe when I was a kid, but Keanu Reeves kills, what, 400 people in the bleeping movie? Next up, Woody Allen is worth an estimated $80 million and won 4 Oscars throughout his filmmaking career. He's made hits like Midnight in Paris, Blue Jasmine, and Hannah and Her Sisters. He allegedly touched Dylan Farrow, one of his adopted daughters, when she was 7 years old. In the heat of the Me Too movement, one of Hollywood's biggest and brightest stars, Timothée Chalamet, publicly denounced working with him on A Rainy Day in New York. He said, and I quote, "I do not want to profit from my work on the film, and to that end, I am going to donate my entire salary to 3 charities: Time's Up, the LGBT Center in New York, and Rain." Next up, we've got John Turteltaub, responsible for creating some very fun movies like 3 Ninjas, National Treasure Book of Secrets, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and The Meg. Number 21, we've got Chris Columbus, who is responsible for hits like Home Alone 1 and 2, Mrs. Doubtfire, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chambers of Secrets, Rent, and Pixels. Fun fact, he's an NYU alum and has 1 Oscar nomination for producing The Help. Jude Apatow is responsible for creating some of the funniest films to ever hit the screen, including 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, This Is 40, Trainwreck, and The King of Staten Island. He also has 3 Primetime Emmys. Clocking in at $100 million, we've got Rob Reiner, who is an Oscar-nominated director whose work includes Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and The Bucket List. Coming in hot with a $100 million net worth, we've got the legendary Martin Scorsese. The Oscar-winning director has been nominated for countless Oscars and countless Emmys and is responsible for creating so many different classics such as Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed, Shutter Island, and Wolf of Wall Street. His new film, Flowers of the Killer Moon, stars first-time collaborator Leonardo DiCaprio and is set to release in theaters everywhere, October 20th, 2023. Number 17, Irwin Winkler. Even though Irwin Winkler just directed 7 films in his decades-long career in cinema, he's produced over 65 films, including Creed 3, the Rocky franchise, Goodfellas, and The Irishman. Number 16, Quentin Tarantino. Known for his non-linear narratives and his incredibly witty dialogue, 2-time Oscar winner Quentin Tarantino has a long rap sheet of rock-solid work such as Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, Death Proof, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We've got the 4-time Oscar-winning Joel and Ethan Coen, who's directed and written films such as Fargo, True Grit, and No Country for Old Men, as well as comedic gold found in The Big Lebowski, The Hudsucker Proxy, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Burn After Reading, and Hail Caesar. Oscar winner Gore Verbinski is known for directing The Mexican, The Ring, the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, Rango, The Lone Ranger, and A Cure for Wellness. Next up, we've got cinematic auteur Tim Burton, who is known for his very unique color palette and his questionable dark characters. He's in charge of directing classics like Beetlejuice, 1989's Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Sleepy Hollow, Planet of the Apes, Big Fish, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, and his most recent smash hit phenomenon, Wednesday, on Netflix. Hauling in a massive $150 million, we've got Guy Ritchie, who's responsible for Snatch, Rock'n'Rolla, Sherlock Holmes 1 and 2, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, Aladdin, The Gentleman, and Wrath of Man. We've got two-time Oscar winner Ron Howard, who directed a staggering 48 films, including Apollo 13, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, A Beautiful Mind, Cinderella Man, The Da Vinci Code, Frost Nixon, Angels and Demons, Rush, Inferno, and Solo, a Star Wars story. Now we've got my favorite director, the brilliant Christopher Nolan. He was nominated for 5 Oscars and has been the lead architect behind mind-bending epics like Memento, Insomnia, The Prestige, The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Tenet. Chris is known for denouncing the use of CGI and green screen in his works. He spearheaded the usage of IMAX cameras in feature films, and his nuclear bomb 3-hour epic, Oppenheimer, is set to release July 21st, 2023. Sorry, Barbie, I already got my tickets. We've got the disaster movie icon Roland Emmerich clocking in at $200 million. He directed Independence Day, 1998's Godzilla, The Patriot, The Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC, 2012, and his most recent film, Moonfall. I enjoyed Moonfall, I thought it was a lot of fun, but unfortunately most people didn't see it. The legendary 5-time Oscar winner, Francis Ford Coppola, clocks in at $300 million and is responsible for creating some of the best epics in modern cinema history, including The Godfather Parts 1, 2, and 3, Apocalypse Now, The Cotton Club, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, he's recently put $100 million of his own money into his new multi-million-dollar sci-fi epic.
A lot of people saying that we're really excited for Megalopolis 2.
Well, I'm starting now. I'm working on it now.
4-time Oscar nominee Ridley Scott has made $400 million over his decades-long career as a director and producer. He's in charge of directing cinematic hits like Alien, Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, G.I. Jane, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, American Gangster, Body of Lies, Robin Hood, Prometheus, Exodus of Gods and Kings, and Alien Covenant. Most known for his electricity-filled explosions and his high-octane action-adventure epics, Michael Bay reportedly earned $200 million from his Steven Spielberg-produced work on the Transformers franchise. He's also responsible for directing a ton of MTV music videos, as well as films like The Rock, Bad Boys, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, Bad Boys 2, The Island, Pain and Gain, and 13 Hours. Approaching $500 million, we've got the directorial king of The Lord of the Rings, who directed all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy and all of the Hobbit trilogy. He's won 3 Oscars, and he most notably directed 2005's King Kong and The Lovely Bones. Next up, we've got James Francis Cameron, who's known for creating multi-billion-dollar blockbusters and taking deep-sea explorations. His noteworthy list of blockbusters include Terminator 1, 2, The Abyss, and his first billion-dollar baby, Titanic. When Titanic went over budget, he gave the studio back his $8 million salary in exchange for back-end points, which earned him a whopping $150 million. He made his next billion-dollar blockbuster, Avatar, which became the highest-grossing film in the world. On a budget of $237 million, it made approximately $3 billion in revenue. In 2022, he released his next billion-dollar baby, Avatar: The Way of Water, earning the studio $2.3 billion, cementing himself as one of the most profitable filmmakers of all time. Avatar 3 is currently in post-production, with 4 and 5 films slated to release right behind it. Emmy award-winning industry titan Tyler Perry rose to fame after years of grueling hard work. He rented a theater in Atlanta and put on a play that failed to attract audiences. After doing a series of odd jobs, he found himself living in his car, and when opportunity knocked, he utilized his newly developed business acumen to sell out his next shows and drew attention from industry executives and investors. This led him to eventually partner with the 600-pound gorilla, Lionsgate, to adopt one of his plays into a film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. The film earned over $50 million on a modest budget of only $5.5 million. Having directed over 62 films and television shows, he went on to create one of the biggest film empires in history and is known for owning the rights to all of his plays and movies. Three-time Academy Award-winning Amblin Entertainment juggernaut Steven Spielberg has directed and produced almost 200 works of fine art in his decades-long career, churning out timeless classics such as Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Indiana Jones trilogy, E.T., The Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, Hook, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, AI, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, War of the Worlds, Ready Player One, and the list goes on and on and on. His directorial talent and contribution to the world of cinema has cemented him as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. The four-time Oscar-nominated Star Wars architect George Lucas built one of the mightiest empires using the Force. In 1973, he won a Golden Globe for his work on American Graffiti. This gave him power necessary to create his most daring film yet, Star Wars Episode IV, A New Hope. He was inspired to make Star Wars originally from Flash Gordon and the Planet of the Apes movies. In 1975, he established Industrial Light and Magic, the production company necessary to produce the VFX needed for his film. Lucas's net worth ballooned after selling his entire company, Lucasfilm, to Disney for a whopping $4 billion. Now I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the wealthiest directors of all time? Definitely leave a comment below. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Until next time.